Hey everyone, welcome back to the Brandon Breeze GunTube channel. Have you been considering getting yourself an Osight C? Well, you're going to want to stick around because this is an honest range review from my first trip out with the Osight C on two different platforms. Got it on the Glock, got it on my 357, right? So it's got a little bit more juice. We're going to be talking about that here in a second. So, what is this thing and why is it interesting? Well, it's interesting because it's kind of disrupting the market, right? This is coming in right now. I think they're $139.99, $134.99 for the Christmas sale, Black Friday sale, whatever you want to call it. So to get yourself, and this is not an enclosed optic, right? But to get yourself a big window optic like this is 70-75 aluminum, for example, from any of the other brands is going to cost you at least a couple $100. This coming in well under 200 makes it super interesting, right? Standard features. This one has the little battery side tray, so this is a big feature because I know a lot of people didn't like that little charging panel. You had to have the hood, etc., right? So you can change your battery right here on the side. Which, remember reading that you can get 100,000 hours out of this battery because it turns itself off, right? And I've tested the shake awake, so to speak, and it works really well. You have to move it just a tiny bit and it turns itself right back on. And of course, there's a couple of different modes, but this video is not really about the features of this optic. It's about the value of the optic. So we're going to go ahead and roll in the shooting footage and then we'll catch back up at the end.
Serious about this stuff.
Hey everyone, I've noticed that about 80+% of people that watch this channel aren't subscribed. So if you like this kind of content, two-way content, obviously you know better than anybody that YouTube tries to downplay this stuff, right? Any of my useful videos, the algorithm doesn't really push it. I put up some stupid video and they push it like crazy, right? So if you like this content, make sure that you subscribe, like, and of course make a comment down below. I love talking to you guys. All right, welcome back from that shooting footage. What did you guys think? It was boringly reliable. There was no issues whatsoever. Like I said, I shot it on my Glock 17. I shot it on my R8 357. I put, I think, only 50 rounds, one box through this, but it was all full power ammo. And it had a lot more juice than the 9mm, of course, but both of them stayed zero. I zeroed them at 25 yards, no issues whatsoever, not complaining on anything at all, right? The reticle is nice and clear, and I have astigmatism in both of my eyes, so that is a really, really good point for me because some of the other competitors' brands that cost twice as much aren't as clear as this reticle, which is actually crazy to think about, right? The tint. This thing, and I don't know if you won't probably be able to see it very well since it's black background over there. See if we can move it to the white background. There we go. It doesn't really have much, if any, tint, right? At least not that I can detect. And that is really good because a lot of the optics out there have kind of a really blue or greenish hue, which is really annoying, especially for the more expensive optics, right? We already talked about dot clarity, very crisp and clear. The window size is really nice. I think this, in my opinion, is about as good as it gets for an EDC type size, right? I've got other ones like the 507 comp. That thing, it's a little bit big for, obviously it's named comp for a reason, right? Competition, but it's a little bit big for carry. This one, not so much. This is, I think, like I said, the perfect window size for actual EDC carry. Reticle options, you can find that anywhere, but it's got the dot, or circle and the dot, which is kind of cool. Brightness, you can turn it up super bright or you can turn it down super dim. Mounting, this is an RMR pattern mount, so you can mount it directly to any slide that is RMR cut. This one is cut fairly deep, so it's very nice in that you can get some co-witness with sights that aren't 16 miles tall. The thing that really sets us apart from some of the other optics is that you get so much hardware, like both of the screws were in the kit that came with this optic, and they worked right onto this slide. And I didn't have to trim them at all, right? Which is super awesome. So I put the longer screw on the left side, I put the shorter screw on the right side. Everything works perfectly, and it allowed the safety plunger, or the plunger for the extractor plunger rather, to move no problem. All right, so as far as durability, real world use, etc., I don't know. I have to pay for these optics myself, so I'm not gonna go dropping them on stuff and throwing them around and all that kind of stuff. We'll leave those to the guys that get these sent to them for free, because they can do whatever they want, right? It doesn't cost them any money. But since I have to pay for them myself, I'm not going to be doing any of that. But from what I can see on the outside, you know, the nice tactile clicks of the buttons, same thing with, you know, your adjustments, it's got a nice little click. Even in the loud, noisy range, I was able to see and feel the clicks. All right, so what are the pros of this? Obviously, the biggest pro, I think, right now is going to be the price point. That is a huge, huge pro. I really like the button location. Since they're down here so low, if you wanted to, you know, you can rack it and stuff like that from the Optic, which I do, and it didn't disrupt its zero at all. But I know some of HoloSun's optics have their buttons kind of high. So a lot of the times if I grab it and rack it, it turns it off, right? So that makes it not very good. Other pros are nice crisp dot / circle dot, etc. Nice clear glass. I mean, this thing punches well above its weight, right? The cons, so far I haven't really found any, right? I haven't torture tested it or anything like that, and I don't plan to, because there's other people that have done that and they've held up pretty well. Other than, of course, the Osight X, which desk pop thoroughly destroyed pretty quickly. Other than that, there's no real cons to be talking about. What is the verdict on this? Would I recommend it? For the vast majority of people, this thing is going to be just fine, right? So if you're just a person that casually goes to the range, etc., it's going to work for you just fine. Obviously, as more people test these things out, they're going to be battle tested, so to speak. You know, I know Short Shot Tony dropped, yeah, he actually did the C. He did this and the SE, and he beat him up pretty good, right? I know Mr. Guns and Gear did some drops on some of these. I don't remember if he did the C specifically, but anyways, that's all I got for you. Comment, share, and subscribe if you like this kind of content. YouTube doesn't push these types of videos on their algorithm, right? They like focusing on very simple or stupid stuff. They don't like you to see good gun content that's valuable to you. So if you like that, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe.